So if you have seen the movie, you would probably disagree with me on the point of the song and the point of the movie, but the way it presents itself, the movie, it seems like Barbie dolls were imagined as an opportunity to help women be freed from the typical way that women would have been raised, I guess, in the 50s or so. So it would have liberated them so that they could be other things besides the typical housewife and so on. So the doll thinks of itself as made to help liberate women, but in the movie it's kind of released from its dullness and discovers real life and discovers that instead of liberating women, it's done just the opposite. And it's kind of ruined the lives of a lot of people. I remember my wife being upset with her dad. She wanted a Barbie doll, and he just never bought her one. By the way, I did. I bought her a Barbie doll. Once I found out, I went and got her a Barbie. And that's kind of fun. But the whole. By the way, by then she didn't actually want one anymore. That was kind of sad. But so in the movie, the doll thinks it used to know what it was made for, but when it discovers that it doesn't actually achieve the goal that the doll was intended to do, it's existentially depressed because, of course, what was I made for? I was just something you paid for. I'm just a toy, etc. So fascinating. Existential crisis. What was I made for? And the reason I picked this particular example of the song, there's plenty on the web, right? She's sung it practically at Saturday Night Live, you name it, she's been doing it. But in any case, in this one, you notice it shows the crowd and that one particular group of young women that are all just absolutely emotionally enraptured by the song, etc. I think that's fascinating, and I wonder how many folks wonder what they were made for. In other words, what's the point of your life? Or in general, what's the point of life? And of course, philosophy, among other things, is aiming at trying to understand what's the reason for living, what's our goal in life, how should we try to live an excellent life, or if that sounds elitist, how can we at least lead a good life, if that makes sense. By the way, my name is Bill, or you could call me mein Herr Professor if you like, or whatever. I'm just not late for dinner. That's the only thing I don't like being called late for dinner. That's a joke. I tell jokes. By the way, my favorite joke of all time is, why do little baby ducks walk softly? Because little baby ducks can't walk hardly. Not very many laughs. Sorry. I'll try to get funnier as we go. Let me show you my syllabus. Is it big enough for you to see? No. Yes? But you're close. Let me see if I can make it bigger. So looking at the syllabus, which is kind of our contract, I don't know if you're a first time freshman or whatever, but the syllabus or syllabi, the plural, are the contracts that each professor has with the students that outlines minimum requirements for the course in the catalog. So if you're taking Intro to Philosophy, lots of different folks might be offering the same course, but for the college it has to be based on the same theme, right? So the theme is a requirement, and that's what I have to follow. There's basic things that I have to follow. I can't just do whatever I feel like, etc. Right? And it's important for you to follow the syllabus, because of course it is our contract. I try to set out our schedule, what the topics will be as we go, and so on. So that's what this is all. That's what that is all for. And it's not completely up to me. So notice that I have. Well, I've been teaching here now since 1995, which is like last century, right? In fact, the way I can, if I've done an average of 5 intro courses per year, and this is kind of my 30th year, that would make 150 times. Of course, I've done other courses. I've done history, the history sequence. I've done ethics initially years ago. But so that's kind of fun. It's not the same as I was young and naive when I first started teaching. So now I'm old and naive. Yeah, so it'll be a little bit different. Student outcomes. This is the result of a lot of negotiation over what the course is supposed to do for you, so that you know, wow, okay, I start off the way I am now, but when I finish, I will be like this. And so it's abstract. It doesn't seem to make much sense, but you can see what basically everyone tried to figure out. What's it going to do for you? And then another thing, and the reason that I posted the welcome to the course as early as I did was so that you knew not to go out looking for a textbook to buy. We're all trying to save everyone money. And so, well, not all of us. There are some out there who are writing their own textbooks and charging students $500 to buy it and then never using it. And I know that because my son had to buy one such textbook years ago. But that's mean and rotten, I think. But in any case, all of the things that I'll recommend that you read, I mean, there's plenty of books over in the library, the consortium. I don't know if you've been over there yet. It's almost the biggest library in Alaska. The largest officially is the one up at UAF. Right? It was deliberate. UAF didn't want to give up its leading position. So when they built this one, they had to make sure it was slightly smaller and had a few less books than the one at UAF. That's just true. It could also be funny, but no one's laughing. Still, no one's laughing. I better tell better jokes, that's for sure. But so all the references I have are on the web. So hopefully you have access to the web and aren't going to be reading it on just a little screen like this. I don't know. I don't think I could read a book or enough on a little device like that. But hopefully you have more like your laptops. Those are good. Okay. How many folks would like to get an A in the course? That's usually how I find out who's awake. I've never had anyone, no, I don't want an A. But everyone can get an A. I don't use a bell curve requirement that only 5 can get an A. The next 15 can get a B. Most people will get a C, the average. I don't do that. Because I want you to like me. The main reason. So hopefully everyone will get an A, and then you'll tell everyone you know, hey, take Bill Jamison, he's really easy. You know, it's an easy A. It works, actually. Sorry about that, but it's a consumer-based environment, and you have to find out what your audience likes. And so, an A, everybody would like an A. But you do have to actually work for it. So I do have things like exams. I have 3 exams throughout the semester, and they're worth 50% of the course grade. And you can look, that's pretty poorly. I originally made this website in '95, so it's well, but you can see there's test 1, test 2, test 3. All 3 of them pose 6 different questions, which you could actually answer now if you feel like it. But and I asked that you only answer 3. You can answer all of them if you like, but I asked that you answer 3 with at least 300 words per essay. It's a minimum, right? You can give me more, by the way. You don't have to aim it right 300. There you go, and then you end in the middle of the sentence. No, you finish your thought. And by the way, there's no right or wrong answers to these. They're opinion questions. I mean, people might argue that there's a right or wrong answer to them. Like number 6, compare Socrates to Jesus of Nazareth. Imagine, lots of people have lots of opinions on that. But it's an opinion question, so I'm just looking for you to give me volume of thinking. And the reason I use that method is because my first career was as a linguist. I was an Army linguist. Russian was my main language. Я еще говорю очень хорошо по-русски, which is fun. It's not exactly Ukrainian though, and I've been speaking to a lot of Ukrainians in Eagle River, which is odd because they don't really speak Russian and yet they do. So just gets you in trouble, I think. But I was paid for Russian, German, and French. So those were my paid languages. And you still are paying me for it. Thank you, because of my retirement. So I'm still getting money for that. That's nice. But I was absolutely convinced by my Russian language training at the Defense Language Institute in Monterey. Anybody heard of it? Gone there? Anybody? Yes? It was immersion in Russian. And what I realized was that was the best educational experience I ever had. And it's also helped convince me that all education, basically, except for like learning how to hammer a nail or stitch a wound or something, is essentially a language learning experience. You're learning the vocabulary. You're learning to become a fluent speaker of the subject. You're going to be a lawyer. The better lawyers are the ones that know how to use the vocabulary. If you're a nurse, you do know the vocabulary, stat, hypodemic nurdle, all the technical words that nurses use. Hemoglobin, what's a hemoglobin? I don't know, but you get the idea. It's a vocabulary thing, and philosophy has a vocabulary. So what I'm hoping you'll do is spend enough time immersing yourself, not only in class, listening to me and the folks that I might play in videos and so on, and reading and writing. The ways I could think of to get you to immerse yourself in philosophical vocabulary, so that at the end of the course you speak philosophy, essentially. So how do I get you to do that? Volume of responses from you. So I have the test. So I'm looking for volume. I get your paper and I check it for how many words there are in it. And if there's 900 for the 3 questions, that's an A. And then I read it and send you a response. Hopefully that's going to help you relax and be able to send what you really think and not worry about what I'm expecting you to say. And I think that really works. A lot of people that I think not used to writing papers, nonetheless, feel relaxed enough because of my way of grading that they'll actually answer the questions the way they think and not worry about whether what they're saying is ridiculous. Which, by the way, I don't think anyone's ideas are ridiculous, except my own opinion. So that's the one way I evaluate everyone. It shrunk again. The second one is your term paper. And this is by the end of the semester. Actually, maybe the week before the end of the semester. I do read these, even if I just grade it by volume. So this one, 3,000 words. It scares a lot of people off. And you can tell, I can't think of enough stuff to say about C.S. Lewis. How can you not think of enough things to say about C.S. Lewis? Try this, look at this movie, read this text, whatever. There should be plenty of stuff out there for you to think about C.S. Lewis. Or David Foster Wallace is another, there's lots of folks. In fact, you get to pick who you're going to do your term paper on from, I have a proposed list of different people. Yes.
Bertrand Russell work?
Bertrand Russell's dead.
Yeah,
but
alive?
Well, my preference would be someone who's alive still or was recently alive. So I mentioned C.S. Lewis, but Bertrand Russell actually should fit in there. So Bertrand Russell would be good. But I would suggest, I'll suggest, if you email me who you're thinking of doing, I'll suggest maybe a contemporary that you can kind of side saddle with that philosopher.
Sounds
like
good.
if you pick Aristotle, I would recommend Martha Nussbaum as a living person. Who's also, I think, the sexiest philosopher alive. But sorry about that. I am a male chauvinist. That's, I was raised that way, Roman Catholic. Yes.
If they're not still alive, how long ago would they have?
Darn good question. C.S. Lewis died the same day that JFK died, and Aldous Huxley. They all died on the same day. But because Kennedy, of course, being assassinated on that day, such big news, no one noticed that C.S. Lewis died at the same time. Yes?
Said Aldous Huxley. Did you ever read Brave New World? I couldn't. There's like 2 pages. I just lost it.